Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to Firki's 3-day workshop. Before we begin with our session today, let's take a moment to get to know each other a little better. Please introduce yourself in the chat box. Tell us where are you joining from, what do you do, and what's one hope you're carrying with you into this workshop. Take a moment to type in. We'd love to know more about these incredible educators and leaders in the room today. I can see people joining from Surat, Varanasi, Noida, Jamnagar, Indore. I'm hoping to learn different strategies for peer learning. I'm Rajesh from Varanasi, Vishali from Surat, Gujarat, Kirti from Indore, Lakshmi from Chennai. Good evening, everyone. Kanika from Chandigarh. Want to update myself with latest strategies by the end of this workshop. Good evening, Lavanya from Teach for India, Delhi. Asmat from Hyderabad. Shweta from Fountainhead School, Surat. Ramya from Madurai. Thank you all for sharing, everyone. I love the energy that's already coming in the chat box. And really loving to see that people are joining from across the country. That's such a diverse group. I can also spot some wonderful hopes coming in the chat box. Finding new ways to motivate teachers, learn more about peer learning and lead teachers. Those really resonate with our workshop theme as well. And as we are writing, do take a moment to read through each other's responses in the chat box as well. So if you haven't introduced yourself yet, go key workshops. You can go through the different workshops, webinars, learning paths conducted on the portal. The link to the same will be posted in the chat box soon. We believe that your time is valuable and we want to acknowledge your presence in this workshop. So we will be providing our participants with a certificate of attendance. This is made available to participants who attend all the days of the workshop. We will share more details on how to fill out the feedback form and access the certificate on day 3 of the workshop. Now I will take you through a few features on Zoom that you can use to have an engaging and productive session. This is the mic button. You can click this to keep yourself muted. Unmute only if the speaker asks you to. This is the video button. You can switch on and off your video with. You can share your questions and thoughts in the chat window. I will be here to curate your questions and share them with our speaker. Very importantly, please rename yourself as your full name. Only then we will be able to track your attendance for the 3 days and provide you with the certificate. Here are some steps to follow to rename yourself on Zoom. Kindly do this with me if you have not done this already. So if you are joining from laptop, click on the participants button located at the bottom of the Zoom window. This will open a panel on the right side of the screen showing a list of all the participants. In the participants panel, locate your name in the list. Hover over your name and click on more button that appears. That is the three dots. Select rename from the drop-down menu. Enter your new name in the pop-up window and click change or rename. However, if you're joining from mobile, you will see a screen like shown on the screen. Click on the participants button located at the bottom of your Zoom window. You will see your name in the participants panel. Click on your name, select rename from the drop-down menu, enter your new name in the pop-up window and click on OK or done. After the workshop, we would encourage you to talk to people around you about what you learned today. We remember best when we share our learning with others. Second, practice learning from the workshop in your work. You can access the certificate and resources on www.firki.co or the Firki app. Kindly note that full participation is required on all 3 days, that is 17th to 19th September. Please ensure you are present for all the days to receive a certificate. You can attend the next Firki workshop or a webinar and sign up on the Firki portal to get more updates on this. That brings us to the end of the pre-workshop presentation. Let us begin with the workshop now. So now that we are all settled in, it's time to deep dive into the session. We are delighted to have you all join us for today's episode titled Growing Great Schools. It is a 3-day workshop and today is the day 1 of the workshop titled Peer Learning Circles, where we will explore peer learning circles as collaborative learning spaces. I am your host Deepika. I work at Firki. I will be your guide for this workshop to help you navigate through it. This workshop has been thoughtfully designed in partnership with Mantra for Change. Mantra for Change is a non-profit organization dedicated to transforming public schools in India for millions of children through education leadership. Their approach involves building the capacity of education leaders with state governments, directly enabling schools to create enriching learning environments. Committed to enabling education leaders to drive sustainable improvements across 15 lakh schools, by 2025, it aims to ensure that every child has the skills and knowledge to thrive in an ever-evolving world. As we move to the workshop, I have a few requests for our participants as well. We request you to keep your cameras on for effective interaction. To avoid disturbance, we request you to keep your mics on mute unless the speaker asks you to unmute. Use the chat window to ask a question or raise hand to share something. Participate enthusiastically throughout the session. Very importantly, take notes actively to capture your learnings. The recording of the session will be made available on the Firki portal. And finally, we request you all to keep this a non-judgmental space by respecting each other's views and experiences and to stay curious, open, and willing to learn from each other. So before we explore today's peer learning circles, let's take a moment to connect our conversation to the National Education Policy 2020, which provides a strong foundation for this workshop. Please take the next 30 seconds to read what's on the screen. So the NEP clearly focuses on improving learning outcomes, reducing rote learning, and making pedagogy more interactive and experiential, which requires teachers and leaders to experiment, reflect, and share, which peer learning circles and regular observation and feedback cycles facilitate. And now it's time for the highlight of today, our incredible speakers. Meet Vidya, a solution designer at Mantra for Change. She's working to strengthen the capacity of school leaders and key stakeholders in public education. With prior experiences as a Gandhi Fellow with Kevalya Education Foundation, she has worked with government schools across India. Her background in social work, education, and social sciences, combined with rich field research, grounds her vision of ensuring quality education for every child, regardless of geography and resources. Thank you, Vidya, for joining us today. Joining us today is an incredible leader as well, Deepthi, who is the program manager at Mantra for Change, where she leads the solution design team to develop and disseminate resources for school leadership and school improvement. She has over 7 years of experience with programs across various states in coaching school leaders, designing digital public goods for leaders and teachers, and leading collaborations with governments and universities. We are delighted to have you, Deepthi, with us today. And finally, joining us in this workshop is Atulya, a solution designer at Mantra for Change. She has previously worked with organizations such as Adhyan Foundation and has extensive experience engaging with low income private schools and under resourced public schools in remote corners of India. Her work centers on building the capacity of school leaders and key stakeholders in public education, guided by a vision of ensuring quality education for every child, regardless of geography or resources. A warm welcome to you, Atulya, as well. So for today's section, we have Vidya and Deepthi with us. They'll be guiding us through the discussions, reflections, and activities. You'll also get to see and interact with all our speakers across all the 3 days of the workshop. So you'll have plenty of opportunities to learn with and from them. We hope you all have an interesting workshop. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome in the chat box to Vidya and Deepthi.
Thank you, Deepika, for that warm welcome. Welcome, everybody, to this first session of our workshop series. It's truly inspiring to see so many teachers and school leaders, almost 245. I can see teachers and school leaders join us at 6:12 on a working day. Now, let's get going. Vidya, if you could share the screen. Yes. So while Vidya sets it up, I'm going to anyway start with a little bit of norm setting again. I know that Deepika did do that, but there are a few things I still want you to keep in mind. First thing that I would call out is a request from our end. We would want you to add your experience in the chat box when you see something that is relatable to you, when you feel like, oh, how do I do this on the ground? Please put that in the chat box. I'm sure that others also want to hear what different people are thinking here, right? So the second thing that I would ask of you is to use the chat and the polls enthusiastically. That is how we will get to learn from each other and get a sense of this group coming together. Um, the third thing is, as much as possible, keep the video on. It'll be good to see each other as we learn from each other. And the last ask is, uh, at some points in the session, there are certain things that we would want you to read out aloud. So be ready. I may ask some of you to read things on the screen out loud. All right, with this, let's start off. We're going to start off with a quick activity. Okay. What I'm going to call this activity as a chat box riddle race. So you will get a riddle, and I want you to answer the riddle. But um, don't worry, you don't have to think about is this the right answer, is this the wrong answer, or anything. It's about being creative. Okay. Um, Now I hope all of you are ready. If you're ready, can you give me a quick thumbs up using the react button? Okay, yes, I can see many thumbs up. All right. Now let's begin. Let's see the first riddle. Oh, by the way, all of the riddles are related to classroom and school. Okay, so that is the clue. So let's look at the clue for the first riddle. Despite my name, I'm not a king or queen. When you hold me up to things, their length is seen. What am I? Okay, I can see answers coming in already. Okay, I can see ruler, I can see scale. Okay, I think we are the enthusiastic group is already giving away the answer. Now let's move and see. Yes, the answer is ruler or scale, right? Okay, now let's look at the next one. I ring without a voice, and when I speak, students either smile or groan. What am I? Okay. I hope all of you are thinking alike and not just copying from what we are seeing. Huh? Okay, great. Now let's see the next one. School bell. Okay. Now, riddle 3. The more mistakes I make disappear, the smaller I become. What am I?
The
This has to
eraser,
be.
man.
Ah, eraser. Yes. Saida ma'am has got that
Eraser.
right. Okay. Yes. Now, next one. I show the world, but I stay in one place. What am I? Okay, I see globe, I see map. Anything else?
Globe.
Okay. Board. Okay. Atlas, TV. Interesting. Compass. Google Earth. Ah, this one I think is making everybody think. Yeah, so actually it could be any of this, right? It could be Google Maps at this point, but I don't know how many of us are actually using Google Map in a classroom though. But yes, we are using Globe, we are using Atlas, we are using Map. Some of us are also using TV and all to show things on the screen to the children, right? Okay. Wonderful responses. Now, let's move to the next one. I store all your marks, tests, and grades. Teachers check me to see how progress is made. What am I? Okay, this is something close to everybody's heart.
Progress card.
Report card.
Report card, yes. All right, report card.
Progress
Okay,
card.
great. I'm happy to see the answers come along and everybody sharing things on the chat box. With this, I think we can uh, slowly move to the agenda of the day. I hope all of you got to experience how fun it can be when there is a lot of participation coming in and how learning can be fun when people are working together, right? Now let's see the what we will be looking at today. So today's topic is something that is truly, truly close to our hearts. We call it the Peer Learning Circles or PLCs. We are going to understand what a PLC is, why it is important, and how it can be used in our spaces, collaborative learning spaces. I did see somebody say collaboration when we started uh, the call earlier, right? PLCs are really powerful spaces because it's not just about one person, it's about a collective coming together to learn from each other. And what makes today even really more even special is that today we have a diverse group of people joining in from different parts of the country. I saw people from outside India also are here. So each of you are coming in with your own unique experiences, your own context and challenge, um, and I hope that will make the discussion even richer today. So these are the three questions that we will walk you through during the entire the course of the day. We will look at examples, we'll share stories, we'll think about practical steps that you can take back to your school. All right, with this, let's get started.
Yes, thank you, Deepti. So, thank you for setting the tone for the workshop. Let's start with the first thing, that is to unpack what is PLC. So, for that, we have a short story for you. Let's meet Miss Radha. She is a school leader and she spoke to her teachers to find out what they wish to do in the schools. Right. So, now there are different answers. For example, Khan sir said he wanted to provide a good learning experience for students from migrant communities. Like that, different teachers had different challenges, but their wish was the same, to see their children excel. I think all of us want to see our child excel, right? But she also noticed that teachers often feel demotivated because some challenges had existed for a very long time, while sometimes all teachers also feel alone and isolated, as if there are no teachers, no one to reach out or for ideas and support. Even when training sessions were conducted, teachers were sometimes unsure about how to implement what they had learned.
Again, she also observed that despite these challenges, some teachers had tackled similar challenges in interesting ways. For example, one teacher paired students from migrant communities with classmates who knew about the school language so they could support each other. So, similarly, teachers tried to solve problems in small ways. However, other teachers in the school were unaware of those efforts. As a result, there was a lack of visibility of their work and ideas. So now these are the couple of challenges that she noticed. One, there were a couple of problems which had no simple solution. There were teachers who were feeling demotivated, and there were teachers who were feeling alone or isolated, and there was a limited visibility of other teachers' ideas and practices. Then what she did, she got to know about the peer learning circle. So she was trying to find out the challenge solutions for all these challenges, and she knew that peer learning circle is something that people are talking about. So what she did was she did some kind of research and found out that there are various studies that highlight the significance of PLCs. Now let's see what these studies are. So the first study that she read was in 2016. NEPA conducted a study which showed that teachers who regularly participated in PLC reported higher confidence in trying out new teaching strategies. She also studied a research study given by JPAL, where she found that well-facilitated PLCs increased the teacher participation in professional development by 40%. So PLC not just reduced isolation, but built support and encouraged reflective problem solving. Even like NEP 2020 highlights the peer learning as the backbone of teacher development. This is something that Deepika also showed in the beginning of the slides. So now she was amazed with these idea and she learned that PLCs are really significant, and she just concluded these into 5 main reasons why PLCs are important. First one is to promote innovation. Yes, so PLCs really promote innovation among teachers to solve problems that have no simpler solution. It also encourages collaboration. Teachers get opportunities to share experiences, exchange ideas, and work together instead of working in isolation. It also builds leadership and facilitation skills. So teachers take turns facilitating, discussing, which strengthen the leadership skills. And it also encourages motivation. So to keep teachers motivated, like everyone in the group will be energized and ready to share their experiences in a PLC. And last but not the least, to learn together. So PLC is about learning and to create continuous culture of collaboration. So with that, she was very happy. She knew what is PLC and why PLC is very important. Now what I would like to take a pause here, and I would like to try a mini version of PLC right now so that we understand what is the significance of it. So what we will do now is we'll play a quick game called Circle of Ideas. You remember Mr. Khan that I was talking about? So he wants to solve his problem. The problem is that he wants to improve the learning experience of students who are coming from migrant communities. Now, what you have to do is you have to solve this problem of Mr. Khan. Now, all of you, what you can do is you can type out your responses, your solutions on how Mr. Khan can go about making this problem, solving this problem. So I will take a quick pause and I would invite you all to respond it on the chat. Yes. Okay, I see someone wrote buddy partners, mix them in different groups. Interesting. Let the ideas come. Okay, peer teaching can assign a buddy. If anyone wants to unmute and share, that's also okay. If you have a very thought-provoking idea. Okay, mixing peer groups.
Encouraging them, encourage them, motivate them, and give them total support with the students who are learning in class, and make their friendship with the good students and all like that, and help and cooperate like that.
Interesting. Okay, we'll take one more response. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
guided practice and group discussion among the children
Okay.
regarding that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting. Yeah, I see a lot of responses on the chat.
Hello.
Yeah, I think let's move on. So see what just happened right now. In just a minute, I see chat is full. People are coming forward to speak, we already have a wealth of ideas. And notice each of you contributed something small but valuable. So together we created a pool of ideas that Mr. Khan or any one of us can take it back tomorrow and use it in our own context. So that's the power of PLC. And yeah, so that's the essence of what PLCs are. Now now let's see what PLCs are. So it's a space for people to meet regularly, to learn strategies, perspectives collaboratively, and address challenges and celebrate growth. Now let's decode little more about what PLCs are. So it's about a space where teachers share, reflect, and learn together. It's also about shared ownership, where everyone is part of making the circle useful, and it's also not run by only one person. And very important, it's also about collective growth. When teachers collaborate, they don't just solve their own problems, they raise the quality of teaching for the entire school. And collaboratively, growth ensures that every child benefits no matter whose classroom they are in. Right. Now we know what is PLC, but it's very important to understand what is not a PLC, because there is a very thin line between what is PLC and what is not a PLC. So let's look at it, what's not a PLC. So it's not about formal training. It's not like a workshop where someone teaches you. It's teachers talking to each other. It's also not about top-down approach. In many trainings, solutions are handed by experts, right? But in PLCs, teachers is an expert of their own. Everyone contributes, share their experiences, and learns from one another. So the solutions comes within the group and not just from outside. And also, it's not one-off events, where PLCs are, on the other hand, it's more like a regular gathering. Consistency is the key. So the continuity helps teachers build trust, track progress, and keep refining their practices over time. So I hope till now you are clear what is PLC, what is not PLC. So just to sum up, the circle isn't about sitting in literal circle, right? It's symbolic. It represents equality, shared ownership, and collective growth. So a PLC is simply a collaborative space. I'm using this word again and again so that it's stuck with you. And when we are talking about collaboration, PLC is something that should come to your mind. Okay, so now let's move on. Let's see a few things to keep in mind. So I know that today there are a lot of educators, teachers who have joined from across country and from India. But the idea is that PLC can be applied to any context or situation, and they are not limited to a single school or staff meeting. So I just want to give you an example. So there was a case where an online PLC was conducted, and teachers from Goa, Arunachal Pradesh, Delhi, from across India, they joined through an online meeting and discussed challenges and shared solutions with each other. So you see how PLCs can happen anywhere. So within a single school, I'm just giving you some ideas on how you can think of creating your own PLCs. So within a school, teachers of the same grade or subject can meet during free period or after school to discuss lesson plans, students' work, or classroom strategies. Across a cluster, across a district, across a state, teachers from different schools can meet to discuss common challenges such as strategies for teaching students from diverse linguistic backgrounds, organizing science experiments. PLCs can also be between students. PLCs don't have to be only between teachers, right? Many of our teachers face challenge on how to engage students meaningfully in a classroom. So PLC is a way to go about it. Students can form small learning circles to share study strategies, discuss challenges, or peer review each other's work. This is very interesting. PTMs can be converted into a PLC. So you call all the parents, you hear from them what their perspective is, what are the challenges that you are facing that you can solve with them. So PTMs can also be converted into PLCs. And just one more lens, that is online or hybrid PLC. We also saw a case where teachers from, say, Zoom meeting, Google Meet, WhatsApp, in any platform we can connect and conduct these PLCs. So PLCs are not restricted to a specific geography, specific time, specific duration, and it can happen anywhere. And the essence of PLC is that PLCs are really about people supporting each other and growing side by side. So the idea of today's session is to give you some tips and practical guide which can be applicable to any PLC in any situation. Okay, with that, I'll pause for a few minute, and I would like to say that so far we understood what PLC is and why it is important, how it can be done in different contexts. Let's try to decode how to start a PLC in your school. Now, what we are going to do is we'll take you through step-by-step actions for organizing your very first PLC. So this is called a short-term action project. It will help you take one step at a time, breaking the overall planning and conduction of the PLC into smaller and manageable tasks. So I would like you all to keep your pen and notebook ready and jot down points and steps. Okay, so now give me a thumbs up if you all are ready to begin and ready to design your action projects to conduct your first PLC. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up. Okay, so to begin our short-term action project on PLC, I would like to give a title to our project. I would like you all to think of a catchy title for this project. What can be a title? So the idea is that you have to conduct your first PLC, plan and facilitate. So what is the title that you want to give? Okay. Learning in action. Hum saath saath hai. That's really interesting. Hour of reading. Chai pe charcha.
Peer support.
Sorry?
Peer support.
Peer support. Learning together. Buddy learning. Very interesting.
Child for child.
Child for child. Learn with motivation. Peer power. Very interesting. These titles are very interesting. We also have a title for you all. So
Together.
okay, yes. Thank you, Amandi, for sharing that. So we are calling it as a kick-starting peer learning circles. You can give the name of your own. Now let's see what is the objective of this peer learning circle. So the objective is that you will be able to plan and facilitate a peer learning circle in your school to share strategies, discuss challenges, and plan action that improve student learning. So that's the objective. So keep this objective in your mind. Now, I want you all to share who will take the ownership of conducting and planning this whole PLC. What do you think? Again, respond on the chat at a school level. Children, okay. SL, okay. Peers. The team of teachers. Okay, so we have a range of stakeholders starting from teachers, school leaders, students. But remember, the objective is that we will be able to plan and facilitate peer learning circles in our school. Now for that, we have kept our target. Who will take the ownership is that school leader or teacher will take the ownership, because we are thinking of a PLC at a teacher level or at a school level. But you can design your own PLCs where students are also there to take the ownership. Now, I would like you all to tell me the duration. So if I have to plan and facilitate and consolidate a PLC, one cycle of PLC, then how much time do you think we will take? What should be the ideal duration? 60 minutes. Okay. I am talking about planning the pre of PLC, conduction, and then post. So think of the whole cycle. 45 minutes. Okay. 1 week. Okay. 45 minutes. A week. 1 hour. 4 hours. 3 hours.
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Okay. 2 hours, 1 hour. Interesting. 3 days. So we all have different set of duration. So the ideal duration, it's not ideal, but suggestive duration is 2 weeks, because it's not too long to lose momentum and not too short to allow for planning, coordination, and actually conducting a PLC. Now you will, after you look at the set of tasks, you will realize that you will need at least 2 weeks to conduct a PLC. I think most of you are also trying to share, to conduct a PLC, to have that discussion, it might take 1 to 2 hours, but to plan, ideally it should take 2 weeks. Okay, so yeah, so this is the overview of our project that we have seen so far. Now let's move to what the tasks will look like. There are a total of 7 tasks, and we will go through them one by one. Okay, so for that, what we will do is that before revealing each task, we'll launch a poll. So the poll will give you a hint about the task. So you can respond to the poll, and then we will discuss the task in detail and the nuances of it. So are you all ready to begin? Deepika, are we ready to launch the first poll?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you can launch the first poll. Meanwhile, I'm also presenting it on the screen the question.
The
Yeah,
poll
you
is
can respond.
launched.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so the first poll is that teachers decide that their series of PLCs will focus on reading fluency and classroom management. What step does this example represent? Now remember, this is the very first step. Yeah, how many responses did we get, Deepika?
Yeah, so we have 50% of people who have participated till now. We
Okay.
can wait for the next 10 seconds. Oh, yeah. Waiting for the next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 70% of people have responded.
Okay,
And
let's
the poll.
reveal the answer. Yeah. Okay, so I see that majority of you have responded the second part, that is identifying the purpose focus of the PLC, and all of you are right, because the first step of the to plan and conduct a PLC is to identify the main purpose or focus area for the PLC. Now, how to choose these focus areas? So for that, we have couple of lenses for you. First, you can discuss teachers' work. So teachers can discuss what they have created, like lesson plans or assessments that have been used in class, and they can get feedback and recommendations for improvement. You can also discuss students' work, where teachers can share and discuss samples of what students have worked, like projects, models, assignments, and discuss what can be done differently by teachers to improve the quality of work. Third, we can also discuss school data. So teachers can discuss school data from, say, student assessment, feedback from parent-teacher meeting, or classroom observation data, and identify patterns as well as strategies. And last,
Discussing student work.
discussing research and other material. So teachers can also select books, research articles. You can also discuss NEP, NCF, the recent new NCF is also launched. So we can discuss all these contents and understand how that can be applied to our work. So these are few lenses that will help you choose your focus area. Now, remember, the focus area should be related to the day-to-day work of teacher and address a real need and be something you want to solve collectively, right? Because the focus area can be very broad. You have to narrow it down. So that's first task for all of you. Now, I would like Deepika to launch second poll. Let's move to the second task. Let's see what it is. Yes. So the second prompt is 4 to 6 teachers across grades decide to collaborate and send a quick WhatsApp confirmation. What task does this example highlights? Now think of a sequence as well and choose the answer. If the poll is not working for you, you can type it out on the chat as well.
We have 50% responses.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll wait for 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm ending the poll now.
Yes.
Some people are saying they can't see the poll.
Okay. Okay, I can present my screen also so that people can see the responses. Okay, so I think 55% of you have responded that it's about forming the group, inviting members. Some of you also have responded that it's about scheduling the meeting. And some of you have said that choosing agenda items. And some of you, like very few of you, have said reflecting on challenges. Okay, let's see what the correct answer is. So it's about forming and inviting the members. So step 2 is that now you have chosen your focus area. You have to form a group of your PLC. You have already decided on a focus area during one of the staff meeting, for example, say. Now, based on that, you can create different PLC groups. Now, how to go about creating a PLC group is something that we will discuss. Before that, one thing to keep in mind is that while these learning circles should promote voluntary participation, it's important to make the first LC mandatory for all teachers so that they can actually experience it and see how being on a PLC feels like for the first PLC. But for the rest of the PLCs, it should not be all involuntary. Everyone should feel that I want to participate and that's why I'm joining. So that's one thing. So when you are inviting your teachers, you have to keep this in mind. Now, what should be the basis of this group formation? Let's see some different criteria. Yeah, so these are some different criteria for the formation of group. One, it can be grade wise. For example, grades of all 6th grade teachers or all 7th grade teachers. If you have sections also, you can form a PLC group and discuss that for grade 6, what are the things that needs to be discussed, or for grade 7, what are the things that needs to be discussed. It can also be subject wise, say all the maths teachers coming together, all the Hindi teachers coming together. So in that sense, you can also discuss different pedagogical practices that you want to follow and cross learn from each other. There can be phase wise groups, PLC groups. By phase, I mean you can have pre-primary, secondary, middle, different kinds of groups so that you can understand the age group of the students and then form the PLC. Then we also have student need based groups where teachers who have classes with say higher number of students, students where you have struggling learners, students with special needs. So different needs are there of students. So you can actually create these groups based on student need and address these specific things in your group. You can also create experience based group. This is very interesting because say if you are a very new teacher, say 0 to 2 years, and there are teachers who are in their mid career, say 3 to 5 years, or teachers who are senior, say 6 or more than 10 years in a teaching career. So grouping teachers by experience ensures discussions are relevant to their needs. New teachers get guidance, mid-career teachers can refine their strategies, and senior teachers can share expertise and mentor others. So you can have a set of PLCs between these experience-based groups. And last, challenge mixed groups. So teachers who want to specifically improve sitting arrangement, for example, say, or behavior management or student engagement strategies. So you all can club together and create your own group. Now, these are again very suggestive. You can form your group based on your requirements. Okay, now you know what is the ideal size of PLC. I would like you all to respond to the chat. What should be the ideal size of a PLC? How many participants should there be? Yes. 15 to 20, 12 to 15, okay, 8 to 10. Okay,
1 to 5.
Sorry?
About 15.
1 to 5.
1 to 5. Okay, I see that there are not more than 20 is something that you are suggesting. Okay, someone is also saying 20 to 25. Okay, now before revealing the ideal size, suggestive ideal size, I just want to call out few things so that you can also keep that in mind. So the size should be small enough for everyone to participate meaningfully. By participate, we mean everyone get a chance to speak, and large enough to bring in diverse ideas and perspectives. So if there are more teachers, you can form multiple groups so that each one stays interactive and engaging. So ideally, for a PLC, the size of the group should be between 6 to 10 teachers. And if you have more, then you can choose to have 2 PLC groups within a school. Yes, so with that, our second task is done. So first, choose a focus area. Second, form a group. And now let's look at the third task. So for that, again, I would like Deepika to launch a poll, and then we will see the third task. Yes. Yeah, it's on your screen. So teachers decide to meet fortnightly on Wednesday for 45 minutes in the staff room. Which task does it represent? This is very simple. Yeah, so many cooks can spoil the food. Very interesting. Yeah. D, challenges of classroom. I think Deepika, for few of them, poll is not visible.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Vidya, is it possible to have the questions on the screen?
Yeah, but I have an answer to it, so
Oh,
I
okay, no worries.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I'll end the poll now and then
Okay.
we'll check. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think majority of you have said fixing the meeting time and frequency. Some of you have said deciding the agenda. I think very less of you have said forming the group and reflecting on the meeting. See, forming the group is something that's covered in the second task. So after that, what makes logical sense is to decide the frequency and meeting time. Okay, so yes. So the fourth option was the right option. Now the third task is about deciding how often and when your PLC will happen. Now, the ideal time duration can be, so the PLC work best when you have a regular slot in school calendar. Remember in the beginning, we said that it's about regularity and consistency. It's not a one-off event. So ideally, say 30 to 45 minutes once a week, once in 2 weeks, or at least once a month is ideal. The key is consistency, same frequency and same time slot, so that teachers can look forward to it and plan their day accordingly. So this is how we can think about ideal time duration and ideal frequency. Yes, okay. Now, I think there was not much to discuss in the third task. It was pretty simple. Let's move to the fourth poll, Deepika.
Vidya, should I add the poll question here in the chat as well?
Yes, that would be helpful. Yes. So the fourth question is that for this PLC session on classroom management, teachers decide it will include sharing strategies, discussing challenges, and planning action related to sitting arrangement, classroom observation. Which task does this represent? Now we are talking about specific classroom management strategies. Yeah, Atulya has also added the question on the chat.
The poll is open for 10 more seconds. Right. Closing the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes.
Yeah.
We have the results.
Okay, some of you have said assigning roles, making a simple agenda, identifying focus, reflecting on the meeting. I think majority of you said making a simple agenda. Here we are not assigning a role as such. It is more about deciding what the agenda will be. We will look at assigning roles in the upcoming tasks, but this task is specially to make simple agendas. Remember what I said in the beginning, it's a simple action project. So each task will have only one actionable. So you formed a group, you have invited the teachers, you have decided the time and frequency. Now you have to make a simple agenda. So that's your task 4. Now it outlines what will happen in the session, what is the main point of discussion. It's very important to plan our session very effectively. So let's see some suggestive list of agendas. For example, a simple agenda could be within a classroom management. There can be different set of topics like establishing classroom rules and routines, engaging students effectively, sitting arrangement, time management, positive reinforcement, peer collaboration, using technology. So there are set of agendas that you can decide. Again, remember that what is your focus area, what is the problem that you are trying to solve, and then decide the agenda. So this is very simple step. You just have to list down your agenda. Now let's move to the fifth task, very important and very crucial for planning the PLC. Yes, Deepika, you can launch the poll. Atulya, can you also paste it in the chat? Yes. Okay, how many of them have responded, Deepika? We are closing.
We have 50% of people have responded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Please
on the
take
chat.
the next.
Yes.
Yeah. Please take the next 10 seconds to respond. Those who cannot, kindly type in your responses in the chat box. All right. I'm ending the poll now.
Yeah. Okay, I think majority of you have said that it's about planning and assigning roles. That's true. So the next task is about planning the PLC and allocating responsibilities. Now this is very important step in the whole planning of PLC. I hope you are all are also noting down these tasks. So what you have to do when you are planning. So planning is very important if you want to run a meaningful learning circle. And every PLC has these 4 parts. Let's look at it. So we begin with opening. This includes greeting, revisiting norms, sharing the agenda, and maybe a short activity to set the tone. The session objective should be made clear right at the start. So that's the first thing that you plan for. Second, it's about learning. And then comes the learning time, which is the heart of the PLC, right? This is where teachers discuss, debate on a topic together. It could be through case studies, role plays, or even group reading. Then comes the sharing. So we move to the sharing time where teachers talk about their success stories, challenges, and key learnings. Having a few guiding questions ready will make this more meaningful. And last, we end our closing where we reflect on the day's learning and co-create a simple follow-up plan for the next session. To make all this run smoothly, roles are very important. The facilitator guide, the flow, the note taker records important points. So these are very important for us to plan for PLC so that PLC should feel purposeful and engaging for everyone. Now, few things to keep in mind when you are planning your PLC. First is you have to set a clear objective. You have to allocate time for participants to collaborate. Then you can also include time for participants to share success and also choose a facilitator from among the participants. Let's look at it one by one. So adding a clear objective for the session will enable you to decide the content, progress, and activities that you need to plan. So you can write it down, the objectives. For example, these are the 2 objectives that I want to be included in my PLC. First, teachers will be able to understand and use the following reading comprehension strategies. So these are the strategies that I want to include. And second, teachers will be able to identify opportunities for using the strategies in upcoming classes. So these are the 2 clear objectives that I have set for my PLC. Second, we have to assign time for the participants to collaborate. Now, PLC is about collaboration, right? For example, ask a participant to share challenges of his or her practice and let other participants suggest ways to address, like how we did it for Mr. Khan. The role of the facilitator here is more on eliciting responses from the participants and less on direct instructions, so that this allows participants to speak up and share. Next thing to keep in mind while planning is that allocate time in the learning circle for the participants to share successes in their job or learning experience. So these are few things that we have to keep in mind. And last, learning circle should be led by one of the participants themselves. After first few circles, co-plan among the participants and co-facilitate with the session with you. Remember, we also spoke about how PLCs are a place for collective growth, how we can develop our facilitation and leadership skills. So this is actually the place to learn all these things. So far we have looked at 5 tasks, very simple tasks and very doable tasks. Now let's move to the sixth task. So for that, again, I would like Deepika to launch a poll.
Atulya, can you share the question on the chat box?
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the sixth poll is that during the first PLC, teachers share ideas, agree on a new classroom strategy, and record it on a shared Google Drive. Okay, we can see the poll also in the. Okay, someone is saying option A. C, okay. Third, C, reflecting, okay.
Yeah, most of the people have responded.
Okay.
I'll close in the next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes.
Yeah, I think majority of you have said conducting the first meeting and documenting, and you are correct. So the first, here we are talking about during the first PLC, teachers share ideas, agree on a new classroom strategies, and record it in a shared Google Doc. So remember, this is a task in a sequence of how PLCs can be planned and facilitated. Within a PLC, we will have a space to reflect, but here we are specifically asking if what exactly are we doing after we have set the agenda, and then we have moved to the assigned roles and responsibilities. So what exactly have we done after planning? So the sixth task here is, yes, so the sixth task here is to conduct the first PLC meeting and document strategies and solutions shared. So before this, from task 1 to task 5, it is more about planning the PLC and the pre-phase of PLC. And sixth task is actually about the day of PLC, where we are actually sitting in a circle and discussing the agenda. Now, few things to keep in mind. One, follow the agenda and stay on track. Second, ensure everyone gets a chance to share. Third, record key ideas and action points so that you can also take it back to the classroom. Fourth, keep an eye on time for each part, because time is very important. If it is 1 hour and we have a lot of work to do, then we have to keep a time check on our PLC. Also, there should be someone who can summarize next steps clearly, so that in the next PLC, we can discuss what exactly are we going to achieve by the next PLC. And last, encourage a positive and safe environment. So this is about how you can go about conducting a PLC. Conducting is a one part of PLC, but how everything goes behind planning for the PLC, and that's the most important part, where you can focus on how you can have those 4 elements that we called out previously. Okay, now last task. Let's see what is the last task is about. Yeah. Yeah, Deepika, can you launch the last poll?
This is the last poll, so would request everyone to participate in this actively. We have 50% responses till now. Would request others as well to kindly respond. If you're not able to do so, kindly respond in the chat box. We'll be closing this poll in the next 10 seconds.
I see a lot of them are also responding on the chat, and second is the most popular answer.
Right. All right, so I'm ending the poll now. Thank you all for responding.
Can you see my screen, Deepti?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Oh, okay. Is it the main screen? Sorry, I just had a power cut.
Yeah, we can see the screen where the
Upper
poll is there.
Oh, okay. But can you see the slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, okay. Yes. So let's move to the seventh task. And I think most of you are right. It is about reflecting on what worked and what improved during the first PLC. So task 7 is reflect on what went well and what could be improved for the next PLC. So this step helps teachers review what went well, what didn't, so that they can make practical improvements for future PLCs. A quick debrief can happen right after the PLC, or if you don't have a lot of time, then you can gather it through a feedback form. A few sample questions can be included in the form, and responses could be analyzed before the next PLC to guide improvement. Yes, Harshni, you have raised your hand? Okay. So yeah, and these are couple of sample feedback question that you can include in your feedback form. Like, was the PLC session duration sufficient? Did you feel everyone had a chance to share their ideas? Which part of the session was most useful? And there are rest of questions that you can use. Okay, so this is what our overall PLC looks like, how to start a PLC. And great engagement, everyone. Now, this is at a glance, we are seeing the action project. It's a simple step-by-step guide on how to start a PLC. So you can clearly see what it involves and how to put it into practice. And again, in each task, you can see that only one action item is there and it's not a lot of load on you. We'll also share this action project as a post resource so that you can refer it back to your whenever you want. With that, we know what is PLC, why it is important, and how to form PLCs, how to plan and execute PLCs in your group. Now, for the next part, I would like my co-facilitator Deepti to come and share. Yes.
All right. Thanks, Vidya. So we have explored some specific tasks that we may have to undertake to set up a PLC in our own schools, right? Now, let us design something together. Imagine that you are launching a PLC in your school. And what we want you to do is we want you to choose one focus area and think about when you will meet, and also think about what your potential first agenda will look like. So you can see a sample fill in the blanks now on the screen. And I want you to fill this. So for your own school, in your own context, what will this look like? Your PLC focus, when and who will meet, and the first agenda, and put it on the chat box. Let's take a minute to do that.
I actually raised my hand earlier to ask a question, if it is okay with you.
Yeah, I think right after this, we will take some questions also.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Kirti ma'am has kicked it off. I can see more responses coming in. Okay. For those of you who have responded, I would encourage you to take a look at the chat and see what others are putting in. Okay, we will wait for more responses to come in.
You are on mute, Deepti.
Oh, sorry. I'm just calling out an interesting response. As a special educator, our PLC will focus on strengthening inclusive teaching practices. We will meet once a week, and the first agenda will be reviewing our current classroom practices and setting 3 priority inclusion goals. Okay, I can see somebody else saying that their focus will be on teaching strategies for foundational learning, and they will meet every Friday. Um, and the agenda here is broad. They've mentioned opening, discussing what they're already doing, what is lacking, and then new ideas. Interesting. Okay, as PLCs are pouring in, I hope you're also seeing how different each of your responses are, which means there is definitely a lot of scope for contextualization for in PLCs, right? Based on what your school's need is, PLCs can be flexible and it can be adapted. All right. I can again, I want you to continue putting this in so that you also have something very specific to take back and start working with as you proceed once this action project is shared with you. And as you do this, remember that PLCs are not really about increasing your workload, right? If Vidya can move forward, it is about uh, trying to figure out a way to make your daily work actually easier through collaborating with your peers. It's solving your problems together. Right now, I think we will have some time for questions. And I think Harshini ma'am, you already wanted to ask something, right? Let's kick off with that.
Yeah, I actually put my question in the chat group, but I guess it got lost. I, according to the context, I live in Paraguay, Asuncion, and I work in a language institute. And the teachers over there come as part-time teachers. They are not fully paid classroom teachers like in a school. So if I start a PLC, it would be on WhatsApp. So I was wondering how to set the agenda there and how to assign roles and summarize, etc. So if you could guide me with that.
A PLC on WhatsApp, right? Is that right, Harshini ma'am?
Yes, yes.
All
So
right.
for the PLC, because teachers come on different time, on different days, they have different work to do besides their own teaching duties. So I would like that to be more flexible for them, so
All
they
right.
can be there when they can.
Yes, I can share based on my experience, and again, I think you will also have to think about your own context and see what works for you. Um, I have been part of a WhatsApp PLC before. What and actually we had switched between different modes. Like we've tried it on Facebook and then we moved to WhatsApp. What we had agreed on was to meet together at a, even though it was asynchronous, we still decided that okay, there is a particular time at which we will generally try to be online so that we can be more um, like cognizant of what are the kind of things that the group is talking about. So there was a specific group in both places. So there was a Facebook chat when we were on Facebook, and then there was a WhatsApp group when we were on WhatsApp where we would come together at a specific time. And there also we had this rotationary responsibilities of who's going to lead it, right? Because somebody has to be responsible for identifying what is going to be the agenda that is going to be discussed, right? So today we had a lot of things coming in from the chat box, but it cannot be just one person's responsibility. So we had this rotational thing where different people took responsibility of bringing in certain things to be discussed. We tried a case based approach of sorts where if it was my turn to facilitate basically that space, so I would bring in a case that is relevant to me and my problem. So maybe it is about the struggles that I'm facing in teaching the group that I am working with. So next, and then teachers will chime in on how do you address that particular challenge. So it was like a case based approach that we tried it. And I think based on your context, you can try various ways. If there are other interesting ways that this team can think of, I would suggest to put this on the chat also, so that we can hear, what else could we do in saying this asynchronous ways of learning from each other.
Can I share?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. I was really excited at the structured way of introducing PLC to us. And it also excited me because I have danced. I've actually created forums for discussion forums, we've called it, and created a kind of a platform for teachers to engage on either national or international affairs or a subject specific topic. But I don't think we allowed them to decide the agenda and the timing and the place, whether physical or virtual and all that. It was kind of given to them. But now it's being led by the team, although we had a facilitator. So I'm really carrying back a lot of good learning, and thank you so much. I look forward to the next 2 days also.
Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. Just one thing that I want to bring in here, and that's something Ashni ma'am can also think about. So, if you want the PLC to sustain, sharing the responsibility with that collective is also critical. So,
Yes.
the case study approach kind of worked for us because it was not just on one person. And because it was a collective, and because, say, today my problem is probably getting solved, but tomorrow Vidya's problem
Correct.
is getting solved.
So
So it
true.
is, yeah, so it is more interesting also for us.
Thank you.
This is something that is also used a lot by doctors. There is this echo concept where, people bring in case studies and they study their problems together and solve for it. I also see many hands up. Maybe we can move to the next person. I can see Jebashri.
Thank you for the session, Vidya.
You're not audible.
Can you hear me?
Very low voice.
What about now?
Better.
Okay, thank you for the session. So I had actually you already partly answered that question, which I wanted to ask. One thing is like when we are introducing this PLC, you yourself mentioned that this is not an additional work by rather than it is your work, but when we are introducing to the traditional education system where the teachers are like already have a lot of years experience, definitely you might have the experience with the schools you are working with. Like what was the icebreaker you did? You already answered for like how to consistently build that mindset throughout the time through solving each one of their problems in every peer circle. But you can share like what could be the icebreaker as well as like how can we build the consistent mindset of the peer circle learning?
Very important and interesting question. I'll respond, and Vidya, if you have anything, please add. So it is really not easy to set up a new structure and practice in the school, right? Because everybody is busy, and even to actually get into a feeling that this collective can solve a problem of mine takes time. And to and sometimes when you start up something, it is very easy for people to think that, oh my god, one more thing, right? That's exactly what, if you were asked to spend 30 minutes after your work, you will really feel like why are you after my life, right? So that's exactly what teachers might also feel. So I'll share a few things that has worked for us. So one was that, like Vidya casually mentioned this, that the we made the first session mandatory. Okay, because people have to experience something to then feel that, okay, now let me make a choice of that is the approach that we took, and that is the belief that we had. So we made the first session voluntary, and we made sure that in the first session the idea of PLC was conveyed, right? So in that first session we did not spend so much time in solving a problem, but to set across this idea that this is our space as a collective. It's not my space, right? So what do we want to do in that space? How do we want, when do we want to meet? How frequently do we want to meet? Who should meet? Right? Those kind of discussions were also made to kind of come to a consensus key. This is how we will operate as a team. So I am not telling you that Tuesday 5 p.m. necessarily. You are telling, and you have decided that Tuesday 5 p.m. is your time to meet. And if you don't want it to be Tuesday 5 p.m., it's again on you to make this group to change the decision. Right. So that is something that worked. Second, we made the first session as enjoyable as possible. Right. Like we actually had a lot of fun activities that we did. And sometimes at work, uh, in any work for that matter, it could become very monotonous and it could become very heavy, right? That space kind of made people feel energetic. And when you had a lot of fun with your team and you, even when you're not learning, like that sense of energy that you get when you're having fun together, doing something together is was good enough for people to also feel like, okay, there is some merit for me in coming back to this space. So we designed the session as carefully as possible so that it became fun. So these were two very critical things. And also, I I mentioned that the teachers got to choose what, when, how, and all, right? So in that, it worked the best when they decided for themselves. I have been in schools where, like Vidya was saying, we had like pre-primary teachers, like a different PLC, primary teachers, different PLC. There were schools where they said, "Ki subject circles is what works best for us," because we want to solve problems like that. And then they also started bringing their own discussions to the table and had different facilitators come up. So we had to constantly co-plan and support teachers in the beginning, but uh, and but having this general structure of, in every meeting there is something fun that is happening, some learning that is happening, that really helped. Uh, Again, if anybody else wants to quickly add to this.
Yeah, I can add quickly. So, again, one more important thing is that integrating the PLCs into existing structure. If I think that PLC is a separate thing that I have to come attend, then it might be a little overwhelming for the teachers. So, what we did in Bihar is that along with SCRT, in collaboration with SCRT, at a block level, we have this Guru Goshti meetings between BEO and HT. So, we converted that into a PLC. Now we are also thinking of conducting PLCs at a complex level. Again, there are like set rules and roles and responsibilities of complex head to organize these kind of spaces. So we are kind of leveraging those things. Again, at a school level, a staff meeting can also be converted into PLC. Without knowing, they will know that, oh, okay, this is something interesting, and the format of PLC can be followed across. Yeah.
Can we take one more question and then hand it back to you with us after a small reflection, Deepika? Does that work? Are we good on time?
Yes, yes. We can.
Okay. All right. I think I can see one more hand up, and I think questions are also getting answered on the chat already. So, Shubham, if you want to go ahead.
A very good evening to one and all present over here. And thank you all the session creator and session deliverer for such insightful things. I have a question like basically we are a team from different state. One person is working on an entire curriculum of that particular state. So I have this question: how can we create a professional PLC for an academic expert from different state where we can share ideas without competition and collaboratively to build an excellent curriculum for dropout and migrant children? वो ये चीज नहीं आनी चाहिए कि लाइक वी आर शेयरिंग आवर आइडिया, एक्सचेंज ऑफ आइडियाज फ्रॉम आवर स्टेट, तो माय स्टेट इज गुड, हमारे यहाँ पे ये अच्छा है, दिस शुड नॉट गोज दिस। तो आपको समझ गया मैं क्या चाहता हूँ, राइट? थैंक यू, प्लीज गाइड।
Can I answer that? So very nice question, sir. Last to last year, I was part of a PLC which had school leaders from Tripura, Goa, and Arunachal Pradesh. These were government school leaders, and they were of different schools. So some were primary school leaders, some were secondary schools, some were from high schools. And they all had different sets of issues that they were dealing with. So very similar problem statement as yours, that instead of giving just solving for one person's problem, we had to maintain a very careful balance where everybody was being engaged, plus everybody was feeling like they were contributing. So what really helped to make sure genuine and not generic solutions were coming out is case stories, where we said that, okay, imagine if you are in person Y's situation, these are your constraints, and we would list down real constraints, for example, lack of electricity, or for example, distance from um, the city, so travel is an issue, network, for example. These sort of real constraints were also put on the case study. And then we said that, okay, now take the next 10 minutes, thoughts you put down, and then you come up with solutions that are more specific. And we kept this rotating. So for 1 month, we would have it focused on one school leader's problem, and they would design the session so that their solutions, their challenges were being catered to. And the next month, they would pass the ownership to somebody else. So that really helped give us realistic solutions. Additionally, what we said that when you come for the next PLC, if you've tried something out, show that in the first 10 minutes. So that made sure that the buy-in was continuous. And we had examples of people in Arunachal Pradesh trying out things that people in Goa had tried out and having results from the same. I hope this helps.
यस, थैंक यू सो मच। हाँ, और कोई भी बोलना चाहेगा इसके ऊपर चलेगा। थैंक यू सो मच।
All right. Keeping the time in mind, there is a small exit ticket we have from our end before we pass it on to the Firki team again. We discussed a lot of things, but we would like you to share one thing, what I am taking with me from today's session, right? What is this one thing that you're taking with you from today's session? And it'll be great if all of you can share on the chat. And I think many of you have been asking about the PPT. We will make sure that Firki team has access to it so that it can be shared with all of you. Okay, I think the most popular thing is regarding planning and organizing PLC, the steps. I think interesting to see this. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining in today. I will quickly hand over to Deepika and team um, to to wind up the session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vidya, Deepti, and Atulya for sharing such great actionable strategies and real life examples. Like, we really appreciate the clarity and depth you brought to the workshop today. And thank you, Vidya and Deepti, for such an inspiring and practical session. I could see the chat box buzzing with gratitude already. And yeah, for our participants, if you enjoyed the session, feel free to show some love with Zoom reactions. And yeah, thank you all for being a part of today's session. A special thanks to our speaker for sharing such valuable insights and sparking meaningful conversations and reflection. We look forward to welcoming you all again tomorrow for day 2 of the workshop. Just note that the certificate will be made available on day 3 of the workshop. So until then, you just take